We called it, just barely. It looks like silver very well could close above $48, although it's just squeaking by right now. But it was a lot further ahead earlier in the day. Let's talk about what happened and what we can expect heading into next week as we explore. Seems like there's no stopping silver now, even amidst a couple of pullbacks from here and there, maybe a 2% drop in one day, only the next day for it to climb right back up again. And that's the story of silver as it heads towards nominal all-time high of close to $50 per ounce. I'm going to be referencing a couple of pieces here that discuss what's happening here, but before we get into that, I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. Summit Metals, great place to go if you're looking to buy gold and silver. They're one of the fastest growing bullion dealers right now out there, and they're doing a lot of business. And so check them out. People are raving about their great customer service and their fast shipping. So I posted a link in the description below so you can click on that to get there. But check them out. And what's going on here with silver? Well, today, indeed, it is up. In fact, gold is up too, but not like silver. Gold is up 0.74%, up $28.60, trading at $3,886.10. It failed to break through the $3,900 mark. Gold is doing great, though. No question about it, but it is slow and steady for gold at this point, even though it's had a couple of wild days as well. But it doesn't react the way silver does. Much more volatile. But to the upside, silver is up over 2% right now to $48.02 for the ask price. The bid price is $47.90. Still, that 12-cent difference between the two means that it's a stable market heading up and in this direction. So it's been quite a wild ride for silver. Silver did reach a high today of $48.42. Climbing back, recovering its losses that we saw in previous trading days with a low of $46.58. So if you partook in my poll on my Sunday night market watch, if I asked the question, will we see $48 silver by the end of the week? Well, we did. And, of course, it could climb back down right in the last few minutes here of trading. But notwithstanding, this has narrowed the gold to silver ratio to 81.09 right now. I'd like to see that number fall into the 70s. In fact, in reality, it should be in the 60s and maybe even less than that. But that's not the world we live in. This is essentially kind of the new normal, if you want to believe that. And nonetheless, we're in day 3 of the U.S. government shutdown. And there are no signs of progress to end it, at least right now. Democrats are standing firm on the face of President Trump's threats to fire thousands of federal workers, with the two sides locked in a standoff that raises the prospects of lengthy furloughs and a prolonged disruption to U.S. government services. The leaders of both parties are sticking to their talking points as the first shutdown in nearly 7 years enters its third day, according to Jim Wyckoff here. Lower-level negotiations have failed to strike a deal, and another Senate vote Friday on a House-passed temporary spending bill is expected to fail, according to a Bloomberg report. The Senate is unlikely to hold votes over the weekend, most certainly pushing the shutdown into next week as the two parties blame the other for the failure to reach the accord. And the thing is that I don't want to get into the politics of that too much. I have my opinions on it. But nonetheless, that is affecting gold and silver prices. The longer this happens, I think we're going to keep them. They're going to stay at least where they're at or maybe climb up a little bit more. But there's other things too. Geopolitics are playing a role too. And there's a chance now of the end or the beginning of the end of the Hamas conflict, one way or the other, because Trump has posted a deadline of Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which is, by the way, when the markets open up in Asia. And I will be here this Sunday night doing a live stream as we watch the markets open, as I usually do. So I hope you will join me then, because that could play a role in what gold and silver prices are going to do heading into the next trading week. Now, global stock markets were mixed overnight. U.S. stock indexes are set to open slightly up and at record highs when the New York Day session begins. And so we're seeing this kind of data play out here and what's happening. But there's folks that believe, as I do, that silver is going to continue to go up. And a lot of it has to do with industrial demand from solar, and tech is feeling a historic price surge, according to the financialcontent.com. And we're seeing this massive price increase for silver. We're literally within $2 now of all-time highs. And it seems with the rate we're going, in the next week or two, we might get there. And it's pretty remarkable. But before I talk about those fundamentals, the dollar index is down slightly here. It's down 0.14 to 97.69. We've not seen a dollar index above 100 for quite some time. And so that means that it is down, and with more interest rate cuts coming along the way, we know that that has not changed, and we're going to see it. The question is how much of a cut will come here in October, in the October's meeting. Will it be a half point, or will it be a quarter point? Either way, silver is looking pretty good with those prospects. But what we're seeing here, the ascent in silver price carries immediate and far-reaching implications across global markets. For investors, it signals a potential revaluation of silver's intrinsic value, moving beyond its traditional role as a precious metal and safe haven asset to acknowledge its critical function as an industrial commodity. For industries relying on silver, such as solar panel manufacturers and electronics producers, it translates into rising input cost, potentially influencing production strategies and pricing structures. The sustained upward trajectory, fueled by a persistent supply deficit, suggests that silver's moment in the sun may be far from over, potentially challenging its all-time highs and reshaping investment portfolios. Now, it's an intriguing notion, this idea of revaluation of silver's intrinsic value, which is a value in and of itself guided by history and how man has viewed it over the long course of time. I think in a way that's been distorted by the price, and even now it's distorted by the price. I feel it's undervalued based off of the price. So how will that play out in the long run? I don't know. But when we hold it in our hand, we're having savings outside of the system itself. You know, we measure it based off of these dollars, but these dollars, by design, lose value every year, according to the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. And because what the Fed does is all the Fed actions essentially lead to a devaluation, even on their target of 2% inflation. Well, 2% loss of value year over year is still inflation. There's no other way around it. But silver maintains its value proposition over the long course of time. That is intrinsic because of what it is of itself. Of course, history is the guide, and how it's been measured by humans throughout that history. You might call it historic value, but I like to look at it as something based off of the properties of the metal itself, which is valuable above and beyond price. And we're seeing that more and more with over 10,000 uses that silver has. It is the most diverse metal on the periodic table. No other metal comes close. Now, metals like copper are far more used, iron as well, but it doesn't have as many applications that silver has. And it's because of the physical properties of the metal. The current silver price surge is a story of fundamental supply and demand, with industrial consumption taking center stage. And now the performance of silver since October of this year is nothing short of extraordinary, having commenced the year at approximately $28.92 per ounce. The third quarter of this year alone saw silver gain 27.5%, marking its best quarterly performance in the last 5 years. With a further 16.1% increase in September, the sustained momentum is underpinned by silver's irreplaceable properties, its unmatched electrical and thermal conductivity, making it indispensable in high-performance applications, and efficiency is paramount. We know what's going on behind the scenes as well, too, in terms of the markets and the fact that there is indeed a supply deficit. And even by the most conservative estimates out there, if we've not hit there already, we'll probably hit there this year or early next. And we're in the 5th year of that. And so there's no sign of any silver just appearing out of thin air to meet the demand that's needed for the metal. And I think that is one of the reasons why I'm bullish on it continuing to climb up, because silver indeed is a metal that is recession resistant, maybe not recession proof, especially in the short term. If we see a strong economic downturn, silver will suffer. But I think it's going to be short-lived because of the demand fundamentals, and especially with those recession-proof or recession-resistant industries like medical and government initiatives such as green energy applications and data centers for AI that governments are getting involved in now, as well as military use. A lot of silver being used for military use. No one really knows exactly how much, but we know that it's more so now than ever before because of the electrification of everything, and with data, with intelligence, and needed, and the supercomputers needed to run those things are there. So today is a good day for silver. If you've been stacking them for a long time and stuck with it throughout those previous decades where it has been trading flat for so long, it was a very stagnant metal. This channel existed during one of those periods, but I've always felt the same about silver now as I did then. There's more to silver than just its price. The more people that understand that, when the price collapses or falls dramatically, well, you can hold your head up high because there's more to silver than just its price. Its value is something that will continue to climb throughout history, or its value will remain the same and the price will continue to climb until there is some sort of reset. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I like to bring you the latest news in the world of precious metals. If you enjoy what I do here or find it valuable, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and pressing that notifications bell so that you can be apprised of the latest video that makes its way across your device. So with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.